Oh, you big Max.
The 2010 Virginia State 9-ball championships. We started with 64 on the state's best players. We're down to the final three. This is semifinal number 2 for the evening. The winner of this match will go on to play defending champion Brandon Shuff in the finals. I'd like to bring attention to our referee for this match in the finals.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 2010 Virginia State 9-ball championships. In Midlothian, Virginia, basically Richmond, Virginia. It's a suburb to the southwest of Richmond, and we're at Diamond Billiards, our host facility, playing on beautiful diamond tables. Diamond Billiards Products is one of the top sponsors. We want to thank them and McDermott Cues, Mona's Cloth, Racktight.com, ProPool.com. Inside Pool Magazine is the streaming provider. Definitive Synergy POS, billiard management software. Alvin Nelson, World Alvin Productions on the streaming production. I'm Max Eberly, and I'm joined here in the booth with J.R. Calvert. Former professional pool player.
Hello.
Could be playing on the Pro Pool Tour right now if he wanted to, but he's devoting so much time to the magazine, Inside Pool Magazine, who's providing the streaming here and really promoting the game of pocket billiards or pool.
Well, yeah. Well, thanks for welcoming me. Boy, that came out wrong, didn't it? That was easy for you to say. But I'm glad to be here. It looks like Ken has taken over the duty, or Brian has taken over the duties of being the referee here. So you guys have hit the bottom of the barrel now, and you've invited me into the booth. So, hey, I know where I'm at, but it looks like we got a good match.
Some fans out there, JR, who like your analytical style, and there's a lot of analyzing to be done here in this game of 9-ball.
Well, I can tell you that I've seen Dave Hunt play before. He was a dentist of a good friend of mine, and Dave beat me at the U.S. Open about a decade ago, which my friend never let me live down. So ever since then, yeah, you remember the guys that beat you. But both these guys play great. They really do. And, I think they're both a little familiar with each other, too. I mean, it's, one of those things where everybody's in the same state. And I think they've been coming to this tournament for a while. And, I don't know exactly how much these guys match up. Do you know anything about them?
I've known these guys for many years. Haven't known them too well, but I've seen them around the tournaments all the time.
Well, it looks to me like this shot, his best bet, believe it or not, is to actually go 2 rails at this ball. And what he wants to do is hit the 4 to the side cushion and run it past the 5 so that it banks down to the bottom rail. And then the cue might actually stuff itself back up into the 5 after hitting the same rail. I hit the wrong side, but you know what? He's shooting again, and he's kind of liking everything.
Job.
Well, what do you think he's going to do from here, Max? You think he's going to...
Well, let's see. He's got a weird angle on his 4, to say the least. I don't even think he can cut it in the side. And if he cuts it in the corner, it's scratched straight into the side pocket. So looks like he's going for a bank or safe. And, yeah, okay, so there's no easy bank right across the side, although it looks like it will go. I think the bank is open in the side. Then it will be a matter of controlling the cue ball to get a shot on the 6, which is snugged up against the right-hand rail next to the side pocket. So safety's a good option. And well, he left the carom on the 9 and a cut on the 4. Either one would be a great shot.
Yeah, I think if you go for the carom on the 9, you got to make sure you hit the full in the face. Use that option instead of the thin option. That way you can bank it down to the end rail where the cue ball actually is now. One rail, and you'll get a free whack at the 9 and kind of use the 8 ball or the 7 ball that's in the center of the table. See if he can pull this one off. Kind of like that, but he wanted to get a little action on the 9. It's a good shot. I think he's going to end up getting the safety that should have been optionable. He might have just said, hey, I'm not even going to go for that 9.
Right.
It's early. You know, both these guys want to really kind of get a good lead at the beginning of the match and not let the match get away from them because they took a flyer.
For sure.
Smart shot by Larry.
Looks like he's looking at a kick shot. If he wants to go crazy, all out offensive, may as well play something offensive.
Well, I think he's looking at a standard one-rail kick straight down because the 8 ball on the right past the side pocket there is going to keep things a little bit. Well, it looks like both these guys, we've got the stat sheet out on these guys, and the stat sheet's saying that both these guys are from Richmond. And only a couple of years difference between the two players, but David's been playing about 19 years as opposed to Larry only playing 9 years.
6 years older.
Like Larry is manager at the playing field.
Billy Stevens opened that place from what I recall.
Yeah, a while back. I guess his ex now has the place. If I'm, am I correct in saying that?
I don't know what's going on.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Anyway, Larry would be the one to ask for that, but here we go. And I believe that that's 1-0.
You owned a pool hall in Harrisonburg where I went to college. Billy Stevens did pro billiards.
Oh, really?
In Harrisonburg.
Now, where is Harrisonburg in comparison to Richmond?
2 hours west of Washington, D.C., southwest. Richmond, it's northwest. Probably by hour and a half, because the highway, you have to almost take a 90-degree turn, go out 66, and then down to 80. Actually, from here, I'm not sure. But it's an hour from Charlottesville, in the beautiful Shenandoah Valley, and there was a lot of pool there. Grady Matthews came through here, came through Harrisonburg, and he was a great 9-ball player. In the Brunswick World Open, he almost won that. He went hill with Varner. Makes you wonder if these guys have seen that, if these guys were inspired by that Grady Matthews performance, you know.
They may have been.
I mean, yeah, because there's different players mentoring the new generations, but it's still timeless. Certain players, a lot of, video and footage and stuff.
I think Larry's all right here. I mean, he had a fairly decent shot to start out with. But now he's at that stage where, he just has to make 1 or 2 shots to get in line, and he can be shooting a couple of simple shots to end his rack. And sometimes that's what you have to do. A lot of guys we'll turn around. He just elected to play safe, and that's a great save because he's
Yeah.
used the 8 to eliminate one of the rails.
That was a very difficult shot to play that in the side and come across with inside English for the 5 ball. So the higher percentage for him was play safe. He had a great opportunity to do it.
And one of the other things, a lot of young players will put automatically shoot to put the object ball near a rail. And really what that does is that'll make the kick easier sometimes, is suddenly your object ball is the size of a basketball for you to hit. And, obviously the return hit is very easy. But what he had done on that safety was left it out in the middle of the table. Of course, had he not kind of missed that ball there, he should have had a point as a reward for that shot that he had just done.
Yeah, Grady Matthews only kicks. His VHS was really good. I learned a lot of shots from that helped in a lot of games. Nice speed control. Very important shot, being able to draw with speed control, very precise.
And just like that, David Hunt ties it up, 1 apiece. Take a moment to thank a few of our sponsors, Arrow Funds, Entrust Wealth Management, the Simona's Cloth, McDermott Hughes. They've all been helping us out for this free live broadcast. Same time, I guess we should really thank Rack Tight. We've been all breaking on using their racking system the entire tournament, and I haven't heard one bad thing about it.
That's awesome.
And you know that usually when you try and introduce something like that, the winner will love it, the loser will hate it. But you didn't hear anything from anybody about it. That was nice.
Sure.
David managed to make a ball there. Judging from the count, he made just the 1 ball, and the 2 is down, of course, behind the 9. I think you can see every other ball on the table to make it except for the 5, of course, and the 4, but deuce is directly hidden. Now, this brings up a pretty good point.
Yeah.
You like pushing?
Me, I do. I think I'm a good pusher. I think it's usually in my advantage because I think I pick a good spot and make good decisions, so I like it.
Mm-hmm.
But, of course, I'd prefer to have a shot on the 1 ball and just run out.
Right. That's the way to go, of course. But, I know some people that they don't even want to get into a push battle. They just go ahead and kick at the ball.
Really?
Yeah.
They're avoiding it because it means pain to them. For some reason, they think they'll look stupid with their responses or something. I don't know.
I think that what it is that either way, if they push, somebody else gets the actual choice. If you push to a really bad shot, you're getting it back.
Right.
If you push to a really easy shot, you're not getting it. So basically, you have to give yourself a hard shot. And some players go, well, the shot that I have is pretty hard. Why don't I just take this hard shot?
Right.
And go from there.
Yeah.
And I've seen where people push out the kick shots and things of that nature, and that's fine and dandy. It's just I wanted to know what your thoughts are.
I push out the kick shots before. I like, especially when the object ball is like just a few inches to 8 inches off the rail, and the kick shot that I can come up with is I think I can play safe pretty high percentage of the time.
Right.
You know, push out to that one. Usually I'll push out to a long cut shot. I'll find the zone where it's not too easy, or
Right.
and then I'll narrow it down to one little zone pretty quick, and put it there.
Yeah, I've seen where players go, well, I had to let him kick it. It was a kick shot, and I know many times when I pushed out to where I thought I had a lock kick, I ended up winning the game.
Oh,
And
yeah.
the guy would say, well, I am not going to take a kick shot as my shot. Sometimes it's a great shot. It's a
Right.
lot more high percentage than the kick that you're going to get if you let this guy shoot.
Right. Yeah, because you're controlling the direction that you can approach the object ball in on your kick. So you pick it to what suits you the best, what suits the shot,
Right.
your strategy. Yes. Very good observation there. Now Larry's, look at this, ball in hand, and he needs to figure out how to get through this 5 ball.
This is not an easy out. I mean, with the 5 where it's at, you have to do a little bit. Nobody wants to shoot it past the side pocket. And being that the 4's all the way down on the other end, he would have to get in the rack area below the 9 to have a really good one rail
Yeah.
drop. And I think that's going to be almost impossible.
Well, if he had dropped in between the 8 ball and the side rail, he could have an angle on the 4 just to float the cue ball 1 rail over to the 5 and shoot it past the side pocket. Wow.
And he's elected to draw straight over, and I
Wow.
think he's probably done the worst. He's kissed it, froze it up, or real close, and at the same time, he has no angle where he's going to play safe unless he banks it 2 rails past the 6 and lets it bank down below the 9. I really don't see this being an option. You see the shot I'm talking about as he banks straight on and lets the cue stay put.
Right there, yeah.
Yeah.
Like a 2 rail bank.
Yeah, he
hold
let
the
it get
cue
him.
ball.
Yeah, he let it get a hold of him.
Well, he tried to do something
Everyone.
cute right there around the 6 and playing off of the 5 and the rail, instead
Yeah.
of just having a bigger position zone and margin of error. With your shot, you're going to pull yours off over 95% of the time.
Right, and he tried to move the cue, and again, it's easy from here. it's really easy from here. You don't always see that shot
Look at
when you're
this.
at the table.
Wow.
For those of you that are just joining in, you're watching the semifinals of the Virginia State 9-ball championship. It's being held at Diamond Billiards in Midlothian, Virginia, presented by Entrust, Inside Pool Magazine, Simona's Cloth, McDermott Cues, Ractite, Pro Pool School, ProPool.com, just to name a few. I'm J.R. Calvert. Joining me here in the booth is Max Eberly.
Happy to be here, J.R. Calvert.
Max, tell us a little bit about what you got going on with yourself nowadays. I know that you're doing the boot camp, right?
Yeah, as far as what I'm offering to the public right now, to anybody who's interested and wants to get better at pool, sign up on my website, maxeberly.com, for an 8-day free pool mastery boot camp. And I'll send you a new video and summary in your email every 3 days for a total of 8 videos.
Oh, yeah. That sounds like a good deal. For free.
Yeah, for free.
Cheap at twice the price.
And I'll give you special offers because I have products that I offer, and occasionally I offer my list, like cheaper price than they can get anywhere else.
Right.
So or the first crack at a product, like at a big discount,
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah. So, meanwhile, Dave Hunt is clearing up another table, and
Taking a commanding 2-1 lead. He has twice as many games as Larry. All right. Well, it's easy to say now, but Yeah. Okay. Well, my partner here in crime doesn't really appreciate my math here, but
That's, that's good math, man. I'm telling you. You should write a book. 2-1.
I believe that the
David Hunt over
payouts
Larry
are on
Kressel.
the brackets. For
David
anybody
Hunt,
that's
the dentist,
interested
is
in the
breaking.
brackets are at
Can he break and run
va-pool.com.
yet another rack? If he wins this, he'll be up 3-1.
Is he going to squeak that
Oh.
six in? Nope.
But
But
he
it
made a
looks
ball,
like he
didn't
made a ball, and he's going to be able to start with a 1-2 combo.
A combo, beautiful combo in the corner pocket. This is unbelievable.
Where did Max go? Well, the funny thing about this combo is a lot of guys are going to want to roll this ball, which is fine. But this is where the one will end up on the bottom rail. No,
Nice.
it's a little bit more of an angle than what I thought. I thought it was more straight. And
Yeah.
he might have cheated the pocket to get that to keep that one from staying on the bottom rail a little bit. I'll be honest, I think the only shot that I see him having any issue with here is from the 7 to the 8. And that's really a non-starter. There's no issue whatsoever here. If you're Larry, you're hoping for a miscue because none of these shots should really be missable at this point. He should be able to just, walk around the table plopping in balls.
He wanted to be a lot straighter in on that. He kind of pulled back his stroke and didn't hit it 100% confident. But I think he can get out of this. With a thin hit, it's going to be tricky, though.
Yeah, I'm a little bit not in love with the way that he stroked that ball
Well,
there.
he ended up with the perfect angle, though, to get back over here on the 8 and the side.
Yeah. I mean, I think he could have done a lot to miss the 7 there.
Right.
But, hey, he's there, we're here. But, when it all comes down to it, everything's just hanging. As long as he ends up on that half of the table where he just went for the 8,
right,
everything else is kind of, a moot point. Because everything was actually so easy that he almost didn't have to play position.
Dentist continues to clean the table of the evil plaque, the object balls, as the white cue ball stays on top of the table. Here in Virginia, in Midlothian, Virginia, Diamond Billiards, the Virginia State 9-Ball Championships. Brought to you by Aero Funds and Trust Wealth Management. The first trust fund company to ever sponsor a pool tournament that we know of. And we thank them very much. It's been a great tournament so far. So let's see what happens here on this break.
I noticed that David really gets down low on the break, and he doesn't stand up, so he's going to be extremely accurate with the break, and he's just relying on hand speed. He's not relying on shifting the body weight to generate any power, and that's fine. I mean, if you really get down to it, if you find a place to make a ball, you are more than likely going to be an odds-on favorite to get the better table lays than your opponent.
Because you're minimizing your body movement.
Right.
Is that part of the reason you're talking about?
Well, yeah. I mean, the reality of it is that you might end up getting a 1 mile per hour, maybe 2 miles per hour faster break. But when it really comes down to it, I mean, it's your hand speed that's going to rule the roost anyhow.
Right.
So as long as you have the ability to follow through and, keep straight, as long as you're not jumbled up where your hands are running into your body, you're going to be fine.
Yeah.
And,
Look at this. Nice shot.
for a number of years on the Pro Tour, I played with that little pop brake, and it kept me, from having to leave the tour. But, in the end, I still always wanted to revert back to just really hauling back and
Oh,
hitting,
yeah.
just always did. It's just something about, even though you only get a couple of mile per hour more, it just seems to make a difference sometimes on certain tables. But
Yeah, more movement on the balls. They're going over. They have twice, 3 times as many chances to go in.
yeah. Yeah, but if you can find a way, like I said, if you can find a very accurate hit
Wow.
and make that, there's sometimes where you just make that ball straight in and you're just relying on the other one scattering.
Tell you who's been making really accurate breaks lately. Brendan Crockett.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, the kid's 15, hits them really hard, and cue ball often comes straight back and lands right on the line, like a foot or 2 feet back from where the one ball was. Right on the line perfectly dissecting the cue ball, and the cue ball just stopped, and balls flying everywhere, making a couple balls. Damn.
He's gonna be a great player.
Yeah.
He's already a great player, but
Yeah.
just imagine where he's at in his life.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Brandon Schuff was actually speaking high of Brendan Crockett. Last night we were talking about kids. He said he's been working with some kids, helping them on their pool game, and they've been improving. It's been very satisfying for him. And I told him about Brendan, how I've been working with Brendan lately. And he made a comment how Brendan is such a great young player and something different, something special about his game,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, he's just a great player. But his thing is that he's getting a lot of seasoning for how old he is.
Right?
You know what I mean?
He is.
When I was 15, I was just barely starting to play. And here's this kid knocking off great players, and just imagine
Right?
where he's going to be when he's 20. I mean, it's amazing. And I'm not really quite sure, but I see him around with Sal Butera every now and then. Is Sal taking him under his wing? Is that what's
I've been
going
working
on?
with him for the last couple of months. I've been staying over at his house, family's house, and working with him. And I worked with him. It was like his first teacher when he first played in the U.S. Open. It was his first tournament ever, the U.S. Open, and he went and he won a match. And then someone introduced me to his dad, who then invited me to work with him because I live in L.A. So I worked with him then, and then later Sal worked with him. And then I came back recently, and we've been doing a lot of fundamentals. He's a great student. He's talented. He can do whatever, And he's been teaching me too, like some cool shots, that I knew were there, but he just hits it so well, and I'm like, yeah, okay. And it's helped me hit this shot better. So,
That's pretty cool.
yeah.
Max Eberly is getting lessons from Brendan. How good does Brendan play?
You ever see that movie, August Rush?
Yeah, I have.
Cool, man, cool. Yeah, it's a great movie. And Larry Kressel is clearing off the last 2 balls. The 8 ball and 9 ball. And he comes down for the 9. Oh, and he made it.
For those of you just tuning in, you're watching the semifinals of the Virginia State 9-Ball Championship being held at Diamond Billiards in Midlothian, Virginia. I'm J.R. Calvert. Joining me in the booth is Max Eberly, or I guess I'm joining you. Wanted to take a second to thank you. Thank a few of our sponsors, Pool School Info, Rack Tight, and Diamond Billiard Products. They've all helped make this free live stream possible. And, back at the match, I'm surprised, but Larry really took something off that break. Did you see that?
Now that you mention it, yeah, it was a nice like one pocket break almost.
Yeah. I mean,
One pocket 9-ball.
he these players are starting to figure out how this table breaks, and we're watching the caliber
Oh.
of play increase throughout
Yeah.
the tournament because they're
Wow.
able to keep the rhythm going.
Look
Look at that shot there.
That was pretty. Thought he was going to play 2 rails, pull it in tighter to the corner pocket, and just pull it on a line straight to that 2, so he could shoot it past the 7. But that was cool what he did. Why not play the short side?
Sure. Why not? Now, at this point here, he's pretty much got an easy lay on every shot on the table. If it was me, I would definitely want to go up in between the 9 and 7 and make sure that I could come around the backside of the 8 with a little high right.
Yeah, beautiful shot, like a straight pull break shot set up. Leave yourself an angle right there.
Yeah.
But that's what he wanted here for 9-ball. That was nice.
Pretty good
Wow.
out. I mean, and he made quick work of that, tying it up at 3-3. And again, it's that controlled break that the players are pulling out. And
Yeah.
earlier in the day yesterday, we were talking about how the players were getting a consistent rack, but nobody had figured out the break yet.
Right.
And
yeah.
I said by the end of the tournament, we'd find somebody that would figure out this break on this table and see what we would have would be the winner. Both these guys
Good
seem to be
observation.
convinced that a control break with some split of some sort seems to be the way to go on this particular table. I mean, he made 2 balls on this break. He's got a shot on the 1. I call that successful.
I'll tell you what, David sure thought he had that last match wrapped up. And here he is in another match, so he's really got to grind this out. It's 3-3, and he could have been resting right now, but now he's got to place really hard.
Well, I'll even go one further. He missed 2 8-balls,
Yeah.
which he'll probably see in his sleep tonight for sure. I mean, the likelihood of him getting
Yeah.
through a match where somebody knows how to break on the table and now could possibly put him into a 4-3 lead, as opposed to somebody that's, well, I guess he's saved himself. Good shot. Smart
Look at
shot. He got away with it.
And-
Look at that.
And
But-
favorable.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
But look at what he has to face now. Now Brandon had to have figured out the table to come back from an 8-3 deficit. So
Yeah.
David is not his fortunes have turned since he was up 8-3. He may not be able to win more than 1 or 2 games here if he doesn't come with an answer to the break that Larry's laying down right now.
Right. Over the rack tight.
Well,
Ooh, left a combo that lays pretty well, but the cut is not too straight, but definitely makeable. He could make this combo right here and hold the cue ball with low left, back out between the 7 and 9.
wow. That's just inexperience there. He needed to stroke that shot a couple of more times.
Oh,
And
yeah,
He was,
on his practice strokes.
well, he was cutting the 2 unnaturally. Like, the 2 was in a position where you think you would cut it at one angle, but he had to cut it further than what the pocket would have him be.
Right, right. And David's back in the hunt.
Being cheesy.
It's true, though. He probably tells himself that every day, every morning. I'm back in the hunt. I'm back in the hunt.
I'm sure he does.
Okay, maybe not, but it could be. Meanwhile, let's see. He's got to come across, in addition to making this rather difficult shot, because according to Dr. Dave, the teacher, that is the hardest, most difficult angle to make a ball into the corner pocket based on the opening size with the way the rails are separated. And it doesn't bobble too easily at that angle. So he hits it clean, like he needed to, and his favorite pocket.
Favorite pocket. Well, if you're Larry, probably the worst thing that you got to go up against when you get two balls like that is to remember to only think about those two balls, because he's probably thinking about this break a little bit. I'll be honest, and I'm guilty of
Who
missing
is,
an 8
Larry?
ball. Yeah, an 8 or a
Yeah.
9. Probably both players at this point. Actually, I can see where David would fight this too, where you have to think about this break. This is turned into a set where one player has figured out the break, the other player thinks he has, but he starts to think about it on the last couple of balls sometimes. How he's going to attack
Wow.
it, and no matter how easy it is, you can end up hanging a ball.
Oh yeah, well, very important issue. You bring up focus and how even a thought can disrupt your focus, and it's not even a negative thought. It's just a thought that distracted you from
Right.
focusing on your shot right now.
Exactly. You can only think about one thing at a time, and if you're thinking about the break and how you're going to manipulate the break while you're pocketing the 8-9, get up, walk around the table, you know. And I really think that might be what we just saw there. Is he going to shoot the 1 into the 6 and leave him safe here? Okay.
That's what he was trying.
Now, I might have shot that with a lot of spin and tried to get him down below. I believe that's the 4 ball down in the lower corner,
Yeah.
or the 2 ball down in
2.
the other corner.
Yeah, spin around 4 rails tuck up underneath it.
Yeah, and a lot of times you'll find that you can hit that ball with like a rolling speed
Yeah.
and a lot of spin, and
Right,
let
outside.
the cue ball pick up a lot of the spin or speed from the spin.
Yeah.
And that way the one
yeah.
doesn't get away from you.
Yeah, it's very insightful.
Okay, now this is everybody's trap. Raise your hand if you think that this is an easy carom to control the 1 ball on. He's supposed to be shooting the 1 ball in the side pocket the next shot. Supposed to be. Now, he let it go for a ride.
And look, beautiful. He ended up beautiful.
He didn't touch a ball,
It's
and
almost
he
like
ended
a
up
computer program placed it there for the next shot. Ball in hand.
virtual pool.
Steve,
3D. Oh,
the guy who made Virtual Pool. You know him?
No, I don't know.
He lives in California. Good pool player, too.
Well, the 3 seems to be a little bit funky for me, and I'll be honest, I'm looking for a place to play safe here, and it looks like that's what Dave's doing too. I'm not in love with this particular position, or I'm
Larry.
sorry, this is Larry. But that's about the best you
Good
can
save.
do. Now, here's a real quick idea. There are 5 balls left on the table. They're all on the same side of the table if you look at it in a lengthwise way. Why would you kick this ball harder than to remove the 3 in the queue from those groupings of balls? That would probably be your best way to get back to the table. And that's what's happened here, but it looked like he got a little left-hand English on it and straightened it up there. Did you see how straight that came up off the rail?
Came up straighter than he wanted.
For sure. For sure.
This is routine right here.
Yeah. This match is slowly slipping away from David Hunt. And, you know, he's got to be kicking himself. I always liked playing a player that lost a heartbreaking match before, because there was a chance that he was still going to be shooting that last match when he played me. And to a player that might not match up so much, that's devastating. You take a loss, sometimes players, they only play tournaments, and now they need a day or two to lick their wounds to get
Right.
over a loss. Where a guy that matches up flips the coin again and he forgets all about that set, or at least he's in the practice of forgetting about that set. I didn't get the impression from David Hunt that he's out, mixing it up in a pool room every night. So I think a loss might stay with him. Where,
Right.
a Larry, it might be nothing, and, I'm not sure what stage Larry lost. I think he was final 4 on the winner's side. Obviously he bounced right back. But it's looking like we're getting some unforced errors from David. And this is certainly not the David Hunt that we saw play when he was up against Brandon Schuff with an 8-3 lead, or
Yep.
to get to the 8-3 lead.
Right.
Well, I think we're going to see a safety here. I'm going to go out on a limb here, Max, and say that we're going to see a safety. What's your
Yeah,
favorite
JR.
safe here?
Well, going around 2 rails, hide 3 rails up under that 8 ball with the cue ball is what I would have done, because the 6 ball is also blocking. So could the 4 ball. You have a good chance to play a safety.
Yeah, this was more of a second grader, third grader approach to playing safe. It's I'm just going to tuck behind his ball, really not taking into account that he's leaving somewhat of an easy kick that David could control if he really was decent at kicking, so to speak, and knew a few. I actually think
Well,
David was supposed to try a little bit different kick
yeah,
there.
I agree. I agree. Well, what I've been talking about for the last few matches once in a while is that a well-executed safety, even if it's simple, is great compared to like a tougher safety that's not executed well, or even a simple safety that's not executed well, because there's nothing worse than a bad safety. Somebody once told me, one of these legends of pool, there's nothing worse than a bad safety.
Well, you can't win with it, but you can lose with it. So let's face it.
Right.
A bad safety is a surefire way to sign out. With a bad taste.
Yeah. So he's just got
Great Buddy Hall wrote an article
Ooh.
back in the 90s, and it was really kind of a one ball on the table exercise. And
Yeah.
he said, here you go. What do you do here? What do you do there? And about 80% of the shots that he showed in the particular article showed him saying, well, you got to shoot first. You have to shoot at your ball here. You have to shoot at the 9 ball first, because let's just pretend that the guy, you leave him somewhat horrible and he plays safe. You get up with the same mentality that you should always at least try to shoot at the hole.
Yeah.
You might
Yeah.
get 2 shots at the 9 ball before he even gets 1.
Right.
Or takes 1. And, obviously his point was you were trying to win. He says the worst thing about a lot of times is when there's just a 9 ball on the table, a lot of
Yeah.
guys will play safe and make a poor safety. Now you're
Oh,
making
yeah.
an easy shot for the guy. At least
yeah.
give yourself a chance to win was his approach.
I pretty much do that. Always go for the 9 or the 10,
Yeah. I mean, and I don't think David's concentrating right now. Something is amiss here. Have any predictions?
I predict that Larry's going to run out here and make the score 6-3 in his favor.
Gonna go out on a limb there.
Yeah.
The 8 ball's 6 inches from the hole. That's why you get paid the big bucks.
That's right. That's right.
Jimmy the Greek, watch out.
I got lots of other predictions too relating to the world, but keeping
I
it to
predicted
simple
after
pool predictions right here.
What's the name of that guy? He's Greek. He does the odds.
Nostradamus.
He's in Vegas. He does the odds. I think he's Greek.
He does the what?
He does odds on stuff.
Odds.
I don't know.
Hey, Bobby Chamberlain. going on, brother? Cool, man. Cool. You living in Woodbridge? Right on. Still working over it.
Well, it looks like we have a situation for David Hunt to get back into the game here. Larry looks like he's made, I think, 2 balls on the table, or 2 balls on the break, and left a pretty easy rack here. I mean, the only thing that might be funny is the 8 ball to the 9, because he's probably going to have to pocket the 8 ball and, you know, find a way to either miss the 9 or relocate the 9 that's a little bit better than what he wants.
Oh, he's in good shape here.
Well, that 8 to the 9, you know, it's bothering me. He might have to get straight in on it and draw back on it, or just stop and shoot the 9 up in the side. There's something a little funky looking about it.
I mean, there's small position zones. If he's relaxed, though, he's going to run that out 9 out of 10 times.
Okay.
He can be on either side of that 8 and make it. I mean, I don't know his exact percentage, but it's up there, 8, 9.
Well, I guess it's
Probably
not
do
the
10
8.
in a row. Oh, it's a 4 after all.
All right.
Well, now he's got to do
Well,
a precision here.
Yeah, well, you know, the nice thing is that the
Nice.
6 is hanging in the side.
Right.
And
He got a decent roll there. He'd rather not bumped into the ball, just like you were saying how Mizrak said that to you.
yeah,
Try not to bump the balls unless you absolutely.
unless you absolutely
Have to.
need to. Right.
Oh my! What?
Well, we've seen it all, folks. Where was your prediction this time?
Well, I didn't make a prediction on that one.
Still trying to think of the name of that guy. He's Greek. His name starts with a J or something.
Yeah. I know who you're talking about. That's Jimmy. Jimmy the Greek.
He does stuff in Vegas. You know, he gives odds. Well, at this point here, we've got a 7-3 lead for Larry. And David is pretty much, he's out in the parking lot wandering around, but there's like this robot in here that looks like David that's shooting the rack for him. I don't know what's going on. This is not the guy that got to this position in the tournament. There's no way he played like this
David Hunt.
and got to this position, to where he literally was 1 or 2 balls away twice from being, you know, a guaranteed spot in the U.S. Open,
in the
guaranteed
finals,
second
right.
in this tournament.
Well, he's still there. He still has a chance. The match isn't over. If Larry wins this, he'll be on the hill.
Yeah.
But that was the same score that David had, Brandon Schuff. So comeback's possible.
I'm sure. I just get the feeling, though, from watching the match that he played with Brandon, is that Brandon wasn't so much a willing accomplice. Right now, you know,
Right.
this is a team effort. David is almost like he's trying to give Larry games. And, you know, I'll let somebody make a mistake. That's not a problem, a miscue here and there. But he's making some mental and physical mistakes consistently right now.
Yeah. You're right, JR. And he's got to pull it together in one hoopla if he wants to stay in this tournament.
Yeah, well, he's getting outshot by 200 points almost by Larry. And that's a world of difference. I mean, really?
It's only the past, though. That's all I'm saying is that that's all the past of this match. The future of this match could be anything that he wants it to be.
Think he's going to wake up? He just shot that shot. He convinced me that he can wake up.
Yeah.
That was a nice shot. I mean, and that's the reality of everything that we have going on right now, is that when it really comes down to it, I mean, it's you wonder exactly what is going through a player's mind, right?
Yeah.
And you're trying to figure that whole thing out.
Well, it's four-dimensional. It's multi-dimensional. There's body control, mental.
Well, I think he likes 8-4 a lot more than he likes 7-3.
What's this touchy
Right.
here? His direction control. Making the ball.
You know, he needed an extra stroke or two there now.
Wow. Well,
If you're Larry, I think, I think you can play safe here. You don't have to go for it and let
Right.
David back in the game. So Larry's probably just going to bank this to the other side of this rail. Put it. Wow.
I played a
Nice
double
shot.
shot.
Bank it to the other rail. If it
There's
goes
a chance
in,
it would have gone in. Yeah.
yeah, you're set.
Absolutely. And now Dave has to pull off an incredible miracle shot.
Wow. Wow.
Oh my God, his favorite pocket. That's the third time, big scratch. Or fourth time. Wasn't there another one where the ball shouldn't have gone in when the 7 was hanging? It's like unbelievable. 3 or 4
Yeah.
majors. It happens to everybody. You know what? At least I know it's happened to me where I scratched an unbelievable amount of the time in a match.
Mhm.
Same pocket, different pockets. I remember, I think, like 5 times. It was just uncanny. Like, I think I was playing Dave White in Richmond, actually. This was like 15 years ago in Richmond. I remember that. And I scratched so many times, and I won a few matches on the loser side. Ended up like 7th. But there was this one guy I used to play with, Earl Strickland, with long hair. He's from the Carolinas or from Virginia. I'm trying to remember his name. You probably know him.
Yeah. Brandon
Brandon.
Chuff just joined us in the booth to commentate a little bit on that last shot by David Hunt. Sentiments were that it was pretty brutal, and I thought it was a great shot too. To be able to pull that shot off and then to be, to get a scratch, just unbelievable. Now, I can honestly say at this point here, David does know that it's possible to come back from 8-3. Well, this is the shot that he's going to have to settle in on. And I'm a little upset right now that he just jumped right down on it. He didn't even look at it, and he's going to pay the price for that. I mean, he got down like that ball was hanging.
Well,
if you're Larry, you got to look at putting him away.
this is actually nice because he's got an angle to go back and forth for the 8. Or he might bank it.
He hit a little hard.
Oh.
Now, I think I'm just going to hit this shot here with I'm going to thin cut it and try and come down one rail and
Yeah.
get right over by the other side pocket.
Right. Or 2 rails. I like going 2 rails.
I'm not so happy
Like
with
that.
that. You end up with this all the time.
Well,
You're right on the 50. You got to back cut it and let your cue run around.
what did you like there? You liked going 1 rail and then shoot?
I like going one rail right down where in between the 9 ball and the side pocket. It was a big area down there, and anything
Right.
would be good. And if you don't make it far enough, you're a lot closer to the object or the 8 ball. And if you need to make that thin cut into the side or down in the corner, you're closer.
Yeah.
He's going to come right
Kressel.
in line there.
Larry Kressel.
Max the Greek, what are you going to predict here?
I predict he's going to make the 9-ball in the corner pocket with a little bit of backspin to avoid the scratch. Yeah.
Well, that's it. Larry Kressel wins the match 9-3 over David Hunt, setting up a rematch from, I believe, the 2008 VA State 9-ball championships. For those of you that tuned in, thank you very much. Stick around. We'll have the finals coming back to you here in just a couple of minutes. Want to thank our sponsors, Entrust Wealth Management, McDermott Cues, Diamond Billiards, Simona's Cloth, Rack Tight, Inside Pool, and Definitive Synergy. And of course, let us not forget poolschool.info. Folks, thanks for tuning in. Stay tuned. We'll be back in a few seconds here with the, a few minutes with the finals of the 2010 Virginia State 9-ball championship.